Time is a social construct, and gender is fake. Local attitude problem from the 303, I'm Nash with J. As a requirement of my CNCI 1010 class at the University of Colorado Boulder, I'm supposed to make a podcast. So, live from my mother's basement, welcome to This Is a Podcast.
Reefer madness. A city starved of fame. It's the same old thing.
So today's topic is the University of Colorado Boulder and the empty promise of queer diversity. So the thing about Boulder is that the school loves to preach about being diverse, but there's zero evidence to back anything up. I'm literally the only black guy in a lot of my classes, and for sure one of two gay guys in my building. But a lot of the reason for lack of queer representation is because nobody fucking talks about it. When queer people do talk about our experiences, the reaction is always are you sure? Yeah, we're sure. Fuck you. In an interview I conducted with Bud Coleman, co-director of the LGBTQ certificate program, he hits the nail right on the head.
In 1992, there was a chancellor at the time who heard from some individual students and individual faculty that the campus was not a safe space. And he was like, oh, well, how do we know that? And they were like, well, lived experience. And they said, well, I really can't, as an administrator, operate off of that kind of either personal testimony or hearsay.
And that's super bullshit. To just say, as an administrator, I'm so fucking incompetent. I'm so sorry. And the way that queer people are talked about doesn't just stop at higher levels of institutions. It's so integrated into our society to just be dicks to minorities, and to then try not to be, and then fail, and still be considered okay. And that shapes the way that we talk about controversial issues.
A lot of our courses, a lot of our pop culture references, and the ways that teachers attempt to relate to students is always a very heteronormative lens. So it's really difficult to be in a class when there's this kind of there's this sense that everybody in the class is straight and is cis, and anyone deviating from that can't be respected. And if anybody brings up somebody who's deviant from a cis heteronormative perspective, they're always talked about hypothetical things. Yeah. So people who talk about gay people in class, it's always well, the gays, or talking about people who aren't cis is really difficult because it's those transgenders, and forget that there are always going to be, based on our campus climate, there are going to be kids that identify as homosexual, as bisexual, pansexual, queer, and people who identify as trans and not cis are sitting in those classrooms and they don't feel respected.
That was a quote from the super awesome, super cool Ayla Sullivan, the communications coordinator of the Gender and Sexuality Center and a minor disturbance SLAM youth team alumnus educator. So a lot of what they said relates directly to the way that other people shape their ideas of us that directly impact how we as queer people see ourselves. So be conscious about that shit. And don't fucking do it, cis straight people.
Stop it. Get some help.
Oh, that noise signals the best part of this most likely one-time event. Story time! Since this is for the storytelling module, it's time for me to tell a goddamn story. Woo! I don't know how to tell stories, so I'm just going to talk for a couple minutes about Cutie Pop, the greatest on-campus group. So much fun, I love them. It stands for Queer and Trans People of Color, and we meet on Tuesdays, and it's super lit, and it's super fun, and it's a great place to be and just express myself. There's a lot of us who are it's a mixed group. It's underclassmen, upperclassmen, we all just come together, just talk about being queer and trans as people of color. So it's a really different way to see different identities in one place, and it's super cool. Especially at a university that doesn't value the voices of queer people, and it doesn't value the voices of people of color. So, this university really likes to preach about being diverse and shit, but it's not, and I hate liars. Yeah. To recap today's episode, 1. Boulder sucks at being honest, and nobody believes in the queer experience. 2. The university has literally zero credibility to say anything about being diverse. And 3. Cis straight people, y'all really gotta at least try to do better. Like, just try. Today's music was provided by Magic City Hippies. You can find more from them on Twitter at Robbie Hunter Band. This podcast was produced in part with By My Fucking Damn Self Productions, and a big thank you to my sponsors, which I have fucking none of, and I will see you all next week after I get my dick out of the ceiling fan. Peace.